I gotta go back. We gotta do that part again. Jeez. That was phenomenal. The song is really good. It invokes a kind of spirit. And then the music, the musicianship, the guitar work is just amazing. It's like Gen X energy. It's like epic guitar stuff brought in without losing itself to the narration. It didn't try and take over or give itself away. It just existed. And they work together. So that was an epic creation. It's kind of interesting. We live in a time where people with ability can put their efforts to use and create things like that. That to me is high art. If I think Libra from an artistic perspective, for me it's something like that. Unifies the purity of spirit in an amazing way. It really fits this chart down here, that song. You can see this Uranus quincunx here with this Mars south node. In the Martian deacon and the Saturnian grind over here. So life happens for us, happens to us. It is our perspective which determines And the perspective's different when you're in it than when you're assessing it or digesting it. Life's always happening. We're always in it. But being aware when we're in it is different than, it's like the action or the actor. Sometimes it's good to know you are in the world, not of it. Sometimes it's not so good. How do you find solace, stability in that contrast, that oscillation between data points as experiences, expectations, limitations, opportunities? How are these things we're following intuitively, easily in relationship to others in this world? How is that going to inform us of our emotions when experiences are brought to harvest? Well, how has that happened up to this point? That's what the moon is informing us here, or is about to. Now we're healing, so the opportunities and the awareness of why we're healing is being brought to bear. Balsamic phase conjunction, coming to awareness. Mercury and Mars. Also the solar area of the chart. The Sun is exalted at 16 Aries. So we're coming out of a healing of our pure self, and it's the growing awareness, where we have transmuted the emotions of the experiences here in Scorpio. Where Mars will be going, so it is the roots. The spirit is infusing the roots here. Mars will take root and start growing in Scorpio here, bearing new beliefs. The analogy continues, follow it. So the moon is informing us as she progresses the chart. You don't need to stop and analyze everything and think, get obsessive about life over these kind of things. Just know that there's ways you can track it, monitor things, get in tune with your awareness. Like this is my 8th house, moon in Gemini. I can tune into things. I started a new moon cycle today. We are, Well, we're ways away from solar eclipse here. Building. You can simplify and just say that things are progressing. Everything is a progression. The book isn't complete. Might start a tragedy and a comedy, vice versa. We can't really put a label on the purity of the expression of the unfolding of a self being realized in life. Each individual person has a elemental expression from which psyche emerges in spirit. Bringing the wills into relation to wielding that awareness in the culture of a self persona, how that development relates to others in this world. And how we have to relate to the world through it, but we have to learn to relate, not what is the word here? Getting caught up in the will, it masks you from your persona. What spirit you hold as you live life, that's what you show. So it's not trying to control projection or objection, you know. Life is a cultivation. It's about bringing some kind of purity into expression within balance. The balances are always all over the place, different expressions of life. You can just think of it as variations in a changing season. You don't have to look at them as linear spectrum numerical progressions. But balancing awareness, that's how the spirit of what can be is brought into reason with potential. That's how I feel you tune into the Aquarian energies and you root into this change in Taurus, informing your energy in this emotional flow of the moon here. I don't necessarily believe, there are times I used to write things down, like I would write goals down or organize my thoughts and plan and do that kind of stuff. I did that a long time and I realized it was a ritual. I knew long ago I didn't need to go to a funeral to pay homage to someone that's dead. I just needed to think about them, to feed energy, to give energy to this memory, to the spirit. So in that way, I had to realize in simple methods, mundane metaphysics, that ritual is life. Sometimes the psyche is so powerful it just needs to come into form through some symbolic expression. So we repeat things, we do things, patterns emerge, opportunities, response, energy flows, fluctuations, other cycles and things happening. So to be aware that there's all these things happening, to be aware that you are always 50% of reality, and there are times when you can be more or less. And don't lament or resent life when you're in those situations where you're being questioned. Those are just opportunities to awaken to the working, the process, the transformation of the value of the relation of life from a passionate and more clearly oriented perspective. We're looking at the expanded awareness of self-value and its cultivation here. So moon brings this kind of spirit. The impetus comes from awareness. Then you find synchronicities. Maybe you discover a new language. You get put on a path to something. You start getting into your heritage. You renounce your heritage. You move. You do a lot of different things. You embody the energy, the change. You can ritualize it, or you can just try and be in good spirit, trying to live your best life somehow. If you've got things in reality that expand potential opportunity, then that's a good way to bring your energy alive in this world. Feudalism of spirit means that we become isolated through the technology which unifies us in different ways. But the more rarefied, purified expression of energy can be cultivated this way if you want to look at the shine in the darkness. Think of the world, think of a gene swarm. There's all these different genes, they're together, they're trying to stay alive. The unifying conditions they want to live. Sure, they can't turn on each other and want to dominate or control or destroy to live. But the genes, they're not operating in this limited primal expression. It's about finding balance, harmony. So there's these genetics in the physical manifested form of the body. They want to live. They want to expand, to continue, to grow, to cultivate, to destroy, to all these things, to carry spirit down the river of life. And the river of life carries the currents, the flows that we're all feeling from time to time or have felt. And these are the flows which bring awareness to certain things, conditions. And to know these conditions is a realization of spirit in form. You have to sacrifice to potential, not to knowledge. We're taught to sacrifice to knowledge, not potential. In the world that often reflects negatively when we don't do our due diligence, so it's something that's a cultivation through your own efforts. And it, some of us have better vision, some of us have thicker skulls. In any case, we're finding this balance, we're cultivating. So with the moon here, let us see. Your brain is capable, the mind is capable of whatever you put it towards. The key is trying to get the spirit online with what it is. If you want to be an artist, but you get a job where you're just drawing a circle all day, it's not going to be a very fulfilling art career. You got great potential. How do you bring emotional, the value of emotions into your metrics when you're making judgments based off of analysis of experience, the facts, what is and what isn't, but understanding what is unknown is more key to figure out, because it expands the limitations of your myopia, your analysis. So carrying that awareness in I feel when you make awareness to these things, your emotions are given a language in a way, opportunity to shift. And it's not some like permission or something you grant yourself. It's in understanding there is a system of measurement. And there's this fine-tuning of metrics, of archetypes based off your own experiences. You can use this system very loosely to help guide your intuition. And then if you take that approach, this is kind of how I've taken my approach to astrology. It's taken a little longer maybe, but the depth of my understanding is very good as far as correlations to reality, to this world. And I feel it has given me a foundational understanding of what this is from my own experiences. So now when I read these ideas, I'm not reciting canon, I'm not caught up in analysis, in systems so much, but expression speaks. Expression lives. So the moon will teach you that expression lives. You get in tune with the moon. Like, think moon, Gemini, curious, inquisitive, interested in learning, wants to know. Learning that to know is to get close. You have to be in these nooks and crannies, the shadows. You have to work your transformation through those things that bring depth to emotional awareness. So that sound application and expression can be understood in spirit and anchored into expression through a Virgo square to Gemini with Capricorn. So bringing the wisdom of the process online here. So moon is analytical in Gemini. I got Gemini moon. Moon goes into Cancer, highly emotional. That doesn't mean sensitive as like being a baby. It just means highly tuned into the flows of energy, the dynamics. Life has a filter, a meaning in feelings. The question comes with time is what you're feeling here now or from the past or the future? Is it self-fulfilling prophecy? Is it dogma? Are you censoring the truth because you're not ready to face it? Are you fostering charlatans who can't face the fact that they don't have the control that they covet? There's a lot of dynamics which play out, which catalyze through societal, cultural things. So the moon incurs all this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, psychic awareness through the collective experiences, societal expressions, personal dynamics in your own relationships. You're working these tensions out through your awareness. That's why the spirit of Cancer is Gemini. It's the curious knowing, the process, which is Taurus here. And for the showing here in the spirit, the cultivation of the spirit, the fire which is being fed through all these experiences and such. Then you bring that into the service and all that other stuff. But the moon takes on elements, expressions of these archetypes. Sometimes the world will correlate with events. Sometimes our personal lives will. Sometimes there's no external forces, but there's epiphanies which arise within you. I've had those. So if you got air in your chart, particularly moon, sun, or just strong air. Try and tap into the feelings. Think of this time of year, think of Libra season. Just tune into the feelings which arise. If you label them, but don't stick to any OCD or anything like that. Try and be spontaneous. Try and allow all expression. But let things get out of your system and move along. So it's like a mentation. It's a mental practice. Once you get settled into just feeling and allowing the mental stuff to vibrate out, then you can focus on past through personal experience. It could be something that happened to you, or something you've seen in a movie, or you heard a song, or you saw a sight, or whatever. Then imagine if you were just, your awareness were to die today and you were to revert back into some kind of blissful state of ignorance where you're just hamstering the wheel. How would that emotion express through you? How would that fit into society, into your family, into the structures of your connections, your relations? Whose beliefs is that? Whose values are those? Where are you in that? Does anyone know you? Remember you? Was there anything that needed to be redeemed? What spirit needed to live? Where were the mistakes? How do the mistakes live yet breed the seed, the serum, the cure to the poison within them? And then you can feel into, well, the past is defined by the present. The present is the ever-expanding awareness. I'm not who I was yesterday. I'm always changing, growing. It's evident in the experiences of life. They change. We go through these weird phases, these cycles, these seasons. Sometimes we can't change outcomes by waiting for the question. We change them by creating new questions. That's living the tension of life, putting it to form. So that's a good option too right now. Just try and hold potential. Try not to settle. And I feel you can maximize the energy of these times for yourself. All right, well, thanks for watching, listening, and being.